The cameras were rolling. The nation's highest court, usually a place of solemn restraint, suddenly became the stage for a moment no one could have predicted. Chief Justice John Roberts, the man long celebrated for his calm, measured demeanor, snapped. His voice, sharp and uncharacteristically loud, cut through the chamber like a thunderclap. Gasps filled the courtroom. Reporters glanced at one another in disbelief, pens frozen above their notepads. Viewers at home leaned closer to their screens, unsure if they had just witnessed a glitch in the polished armor of America's Chief Justice. Roberts' words weren't just loud, they were laced with frustration, an eruption that shattered the illusion of judicial calm. For a man who had spent decades perfecting control, this single outburst told the world the pressure had cracked the surface. But as silence hung in the air, one figure refused to be shaken. Representative Jasmine Crockett, unflinching, prepared to answer. And what came next wasn't just a response, it was a clapback so cold, so precise, it would go viral within minutes. But no one expected Crockett's next move, a reply that would echo across the nation. To understand the magnitude of this clash, you have to know the players. On one side stood Chief Justice John Roberts, a man who had built his career on poise, balance, and the image of being above the political fray. For years, Roberts was seen as the careful referee, the one who kept America's most powerful courts steady in turbulent times. To many, he embodied restraint, dignity, and the rule of law. But beneath that polished exterior, critics whispered of cracks, decisions that favored power over people, compromises that blurred principle with politics. And then there was Representative Jasmine Crockett, a rising star with a reputation for fire. Crockett was unapologetic, sharp-tongued, and fearless. She didn't flinch when confronted by authority. She confronted it head-on. For her supporters, she represented something rare in Washington: authenticity. She didn't just speak truth to power. She cut it down to size. This wasn't simply a disagreement. It was the perfect collision. Roberts, the symbol of institutional authority, against Crockett, the embodiment of accountability and unfiltered truth, to reputations, to legacies, colliding under the harshest light possible. Live television, their reputations were on the line, and the clash was about to explode in front of millions. It began subtly, a tightening of the jaw, a flicker of impatience in his eyes. Chief Justice John Roberts, the man famous for his composure, was visibly rattled. Then it happened. His voice, usually measured and deliberate, broke through in a sharp, almost biting tone. He cut off the proceedings with a burst of frustration, his words echoing off the marble walls of the chamber. The courtroom froze. You could feel the oxygen leave the room. Staffers glanced nervously at one another. Reporters' fingers hovered over their keyboards, knowing instantly this wasn't routine, this was history. For years, Roberts had been the calm referee. But now, the mask slipped. He wasn't the careful arbiter anymore. He was a man under pressure, cracking in front of millions. Social media lit up like wildfire. Tweets, clips, and memes spread within seconds. Did Roberts just lose it? The Chief Justice snapped on live TV. Hashtags trended before the moment was even over. What made it worse wasn't just his words, but the silence that followed. The heavy, uncomfortable pause. The kind of silence that says more than the outburst itself. And just as the weight of that silence threatened to consume the room, Jasmine Crockett leaned forward, calm, collected, ready, her lips parted, and in that instant, everyone knew the story wasn't Robert's snap anymore. It was about to become her moment. And just when the silence grew unbearable, Crockett unleashed a reply that would silence him even more. The silence after Robert's outburst was heavy, suffocating. For a moment, it felt like the entire country was holding its breath. And then, with a calmness that cut sharper than any shout, Jasmine Crockett delivered her reply. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. Each word landed with surgical precision, controlled, icy, deliberate. It wasn't anger that fueled her. It was conviction. She stared directly at Roberts, not flinching, not backing down. And then came the line, the one that would be replayed across every news channel, clipped into every viral TikTok. quoted in every late-night monologue. It was a clapback so cold, so mercilessly timed, that the Chief Justice's snap suddenly looked small, almost pitiful. Her words flipped the power dynamic on its head. Roberts had tried to command authority by raising his voice. Crockett dismantled it by raising the truth. The chamber rippled. Some suppressed gasps. Others let out nervous chuckles. Reporters scribbled furiously, knowing they had just witnessed a defining political moment. And outside those walls, the internet erupted. Hashtags like hashtag Roberts snaps and hashtag Crockett clapback exploded into trending lists. Memes surfaced within minutes. Roberts' flushed face paired with Crockett's steely stare. But this was more than entertainment. Crockett's response wasn't just a clever one-liner. It was a statement, a declaration that no robe, no gavel, no title would shield arrogance from accountability. For Roberts, the moment was humiliation. For Crockett, it was vindication. And yet, even as the room buzzed with tension and disbelief, it became clear. This clash was far from over. The real battle, the firestorm beyond those marble walls, was only beginning. But this was no one-liner. Crockett had shifted the entire debate, and the fallout was just beginning. The moment the gavel fell, the echo didn't just stay inside the courtroom. It reverberated across the entire nation. Within hours, the clip of Roberts' outburst and Crockett's icy clapback dominated every screen in America. Cable news replayed the exchange on a loop. CNN called it a rare loss of composure from the Chief Justice. Fox News framed it as an ambush by Crockett. Late-night hosts turned it into comedy gold, replaying Crockett's words to roars of laughter from their audiences. But beyond the spin, one truth was undeniable. Roberts' image had been dented. The man who prided himself on calm authority had revealed something raw, and it would haunt his reputation. Meanwhile, Jasmine Crockett's star only rose higher. Interviews flooded in. Supporters hailed her as fearless, the politician who dared to stand toe-to-toe with America's most powerful judge, and won. Hashtags praising her filled social feeds. Hashtag Fearless Crockett. Hashtag Truth Over Power. Hashtag Clapback Queen. Yet this was more than a viral moment. It became a symbol, a reminder that arrogance, no matter how robed or titled, can be cut down by the truth spoken boldly. Roberts snapped. Crockett stood firm. And in that clash, America saw something unforgettable, the power of conviction over control. In the end, Roberts snapped, but it was Crockett's clapback that history will remember.